Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once by all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Today's video, I would like to discuss a topic, as you might have already clicked it into the thumbnail, saying that, should the government of Australia or immigration abolish the state nomination for the independent skill migration category? Interestingly, Grattan Institute actually provides some view on this. Basically, what they advise or suggest is to cut the entire state nomination. I don't know if you will accept that or not, but let's have a look, and by the end of this video I will provide some of my thoughts, and perhaps it's a good way to go. Alright, let's go in there and have a look. This is actually the Grattan Institute's, if you click on the news section there, it's a pretty new updates and in the category of migration and labor markets. So it has a title reads, "Why do the states want a bigger say in Australia's migration system?" Obviously, as you can see, and in many of my video in this channel, I have commented that the some of the states has provided probably one of the most complex criteria perhaps in the world, to be honest. Now, are they bigger than the federal government? Of course not, because the power from the immigration legislation is actually coming from the federal government, the Commonwealth of Australia, not from the state. The states is actually being provided and given with the numbers of quota. They can actually not manipulate, but I don't want to use that word, but to actually select their preferred client or candidates. Now, one thing that we do know before we go on this, talking about this entire news article from Grattan Institute, is that getting a state nomination, now whether you get a subclass 190 or subclass 491, you do get extra points, right? Now, that's the fact. Now, but the fact actually also shows that people have been choose to use the state nomination with the extra points usually are the people that have less skilled in compared to independent skill migrants, because for subclass 189 independent skill migrants, they don't have that extra points from the state nomination, whether it's going to be 190 or 491, right? Whether it's 5 points or 15 points, right? So they don't have that extra points. That means the candidate being chosen on the independent skill migration is actually more skillful compared, well, this is the stats, you know, some in some circumstances or scenario might not be, but with the general stats, the independent skill migrants is more skilled compared to the one who chose or been nominated by the states or territories. So that is the fact there, and that is why there is such article or a proposed plan by the Grattan Institute, and we all know that a lot of advices provided from Grattan Institute has actually been taken by the government of Australia, and they approach to implement it under their new law. Whether or not the new point test system will actually adopt this, we don't know, but there's probably a very high chance. So at the beginning of this entire new article talks about what we just said. I don't know if you agree with me or not, and that's why numbers of a state nomination has been decreased a little bit, and perhaps they haven't been throwing in enough quota to actually allow them to continue to go. So whether or not a state should actually provide a more as you see, state governments select less skilled migrants. They should have more power on the selecting their criteria selections, which is the thing that I do not partially agreed. However, one thing that I do agree is that they should really focus more on the employment sponsor. For example, we all know there is a visa under 482 with the stream called DAMA, right? DAMA. I think the state should really focus and provide more quota or more power for them to delegate them more power to focus on assisting their regional or local employments or businesses that they need a specific skills, and then the state government should then facilitate to get that DAMA agreement done with the federal government in order to get, for example, numbers of regional area in Queensland, for example, they're in agriculture sector or industry. They might need a specific skill or talent that may not be a professional skill. It might be low skill, but they just cannot find any local workers there. So they should assist them to sign a DAMA agreement in order to get some low skill and the migrant who is willing to go and reside in the region and work there for a couple of years, and then that should be really facilitated on, rather than trying to accept and nominate, for example, someone who is in the or in these occupation lists, and somehow all these skilled migrants continue to reside in the suburban area. So that way, I think in that point, I do have agreed with the Grattan Institute in that sense. Now, let's read on this one, the last part of this article. I think this is the key that the reason a lot of people keep clicking into this video. So the title reads: "State and regional point test visa should be what? Abolished." Basically meant the point test system does not suit for state and territory nomination, which I kind of agree with, because first of all, you select a less skilled candidate, and then these people, whether or not they get nominated, they still go elsewhere, right? So it says the federal government should abolish the state regional points visa to expand number of skilled independent points visa granted each year. So they should really expand and put in more for the independent visa there. This change will ensure all points visa to be ranked, and those get most point being likely to be selected. Together with our recommendation reform point test, this will suit Australia selecting more skilled migrant cohort for limited number of permanent skill visas over each year. State government would be among the biggest winner from the proposed reform. Well, really? Abolishing it will become the biggest winner? Why? Well, it says the abolishment of state and regional points and relocating all those places skill independent program will boost the Australian government budget by a combined $87 billion over the next 3 decades. Then they will distribute those money, those profits, to the states. That's what they propose to do, and under Grattan Institute's proposal, this scheme will be invaluable for the state government grappling the debt overhang from the pandemic and long-term budgetary costs. These reform would affect the supply of essential workers, so people who have worked in the migration department of the state, not the federal government, in regional Australia, since only a small share of health and education workforce recently had held regional point visa, including 1.1% of doctor, 2.2% of nurses, 0.7% of health professional, and these reform will enable a state government to redirect public servant currently, this is key, that's I totally agree with, to employ to nominate process of state-sponsored migrant assisting employer sponsorship to attract highly skilled prospect migrants who work in their state. And our reform result, Australia selecting more skilled migrants and limited number of permanent visa available each year, and state will be among the biggest winners. So that's the end of this article, which again, just to summarize it, the Grattan Institute has put a proposal to first to abolish the state nomination under the new point test system, which I partially agree. However, to do all that means about 30-something thousand quota will be wiped out, and then to be inserted into the independent skill. Now, knowing that state nomination has been there for decades, to remove that, I don't know how the effect will actually on the migration department of those regional states and all that. Now, to emphasize that into employment sponsor is one way to go. However, I think they should provide more quota for the state to perhaps to nominate maybe like global talents, their preferred global talents, or their preferred investment visa nominees, so that way you see the balance there. I think that should be a better way to go, and I do agree a lot of state nominated skilled migrants, for example, whether you're nominated in South Australia or Northern Territory, Tasmania, or Western Australia. Now, a lot of these nominees, after years, they still left the region. They still go back to the suburban areas. So again, how effective that the state nomination or point test system has been, perhaps you have different point of view. You may want to leave your comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.